knowing that there are procedures and processes in place that are going to protect the civil nuclear technology from being used by rogue players. The United States limits the ability of American companies to export civil nuclear technology without these 1, 2, 3 agreements in place. The Philippines 1, 2, 3 agreement was signed last year in November, and it has just recently, in the last week, gone into effect. So it's now in place, and these American companies can really begin to ramp up much of their commercial activity. This is actually a perfect time for us to begin to shift gears a little bit. Over the last couple of years, our work in the civil nuclear space, energy sector, was focused on the regulatory sort of framework, the skeleton that goes around the United States and the Philippines working a little bit more closely in this area. Now that the 1, 2, 3 agreement has gone into effect, we can begin to shift gears to a much more commercial focus. And that can be highlighted in an activity that we have just recently put in place. The embassy has created an industry-led working group made up of American companies that are looking to bring their technology here to the Philippines. So it's got a very long name, but it's the U.S. Civil Nuclear Industry Working Group for Southeast Asia. It's focused on the Philippines, but it will touch on much of the work in a few other markets here in Southeast Asia. Right now we have 14 American companies that have signed up for this industry-led civil nuclear industry power generation working group. These 14 companies, and we expect that to expand to as many as 40. We launched this on May 21st, so it's been about 6 weeks, we'll say 7 weeks. It takes a little time, we've been on vacation. So we currently have 14 members that pay a small fee to join this working group. We expect it to ramp up from 14 to somewhere close to 40. These are companies that are providing technology, providing services, providing the know-how that the Philippines will need to really accelerate the development of this industry sector. We launched it May 21st. We will have our first meeting. It's going to be virtual because many of these companies sit back in the United States. Our first meeting is on July 31st of this year. So we'll gather a bunch of American companies, we'll gather representatives of the Philippine government, and it's really just an opportunity to sit around the virtual table and discuss the path forward. How are the U.S. and the Philippines going to work from a commercial standpoint? How are we going to work more closely in this area? So stay tuned, there'll be a lot of developments along that area.